You want to go ahead and move into your main topic?
All right. Main topic. This is one I feel like a lot of us, especially when we're starting out with gear, you're trying to figure out what would be a good rig for this amount of money, right? So we're gonna cap it at $1,000. We're gonna do an entire rig. If you were like just starting out, what would be a great rig for you for $1,000?
Okay. And there's no, like, you're going to go gigging. There's none of that. It's just like, what would you choose for $1,000? And we can buy used or new, right?
Used or new.
Okay.
Does not have to be brand new.
I made some notes. I'm not going to lie. I got a little piece of paper down here.
I was about to say, I've got notes too. I got to refer to it.
Okay. I'm going to refer to my notes and kind of go through there. I got a little sneak peek of some of your lists. Do you want to start with your list? Because you have no idea what's on mine.
I have no idea. All right. So we're going to start with, I think we need to start with guitar.
Oh, we got to break. Okay.
We're going to break it down on category.
Okay.
So with the guitar,
yeah,
I think if this is like we said, this is going to cover a lot of ground, right? This is going to be inspiring to you. I think what you have to go with for the money, a PRS SECE. Okay. And you can go used, but right now on the used market, you can find them. I mean, you got to find a good deal, but around $450. Okay, so that has the option to be humbucker or single coil, split coil. Okay,
it chews up a lot of your money there.
It does, but I'm telling you what, the guitar's got to be the most inspiring, right?
I don't know. We'll see.
Okay, so to me, for the money, you got a trim bar on it. PRS makes great guitars for the price point.
Yeah.
To me, the PRS SECE for $450. That's what you got to go with.
Okay. I'm glad you think so.
Okay. What do you got?
So mine is going to be going to different routes. I actually am going to used market also.
Okay.
Because you get your best bang for your buck in
right.
the used market. Let me be honest.
You have to.
And I took a poll just like you did. I took a poll of all the prices. I didn't pick the absolute cheapest one I could find out there. I kind of found like a little bit above the cheapest one.
Right. Yeah, I found some of these PRS guitars a little cheaper too.
Yeah,
but
that way you guys can for sure find it in the market. But I went with the Squier Classic Vibe Tele 60s edition.
Okay.
So the Classic Vibe stuff is absolutely killer.
It is really good.
For the money, they're hard to beat. And let's be honest, what can't you do with the Tele?
Well, you can't play heavy metal.
John 5 would say different.
You don't have a trim bar on it.
Well, Phil X would say you don't need it.
I'm just saying.
I know. But you're right. It's not a do-it-all. But this is what rig I would pick for $1,000, right?
Sure.
So my rig, a rosewood board 60s style Classic Vibe Tele that feels like a broken-in Telecaster.
Mm-hmm.
And I was finding those on the market for about $350.
Okay, so $100 less than me.
$100 less than you. Not a million miles from you, and it chews up, a pretty good portion of my budget too.
Right.
However, we'll see what the rest of the budget is.
Okay. So to me, for an amp around, you got to think about, I've already spent $450, right?
Yeah.
Okay. What is an amp that can literally do it all? Okay. So when I'm thinking about the price points that we're dealing with, what amp could do it all? You got to go Boss Katana.
Okay.
That amp,
the 112.
The 112-100.
Yeah.
It has, you can line out, you can send it out. You've got different cab simulations, you got different amp simulations. There's effects in there. I think for the money, it's hard to beat. So again, we are going Boss Katana, the 100-112. You can find them around $360.
And you've got that with your PRS.
With the PRS. With those two combinations, I don't know if there's much that could be left, no stone left unturned.
Okay. So I think
So I'm at right now, just doing math here, because I'm not good at math, I'm at 810.
Okay. So I think it's interesting because we are definitely going two different paths.
Okay.
With what we're doing.
All right.
So you've got a Katana in this PRS.
Yep.
I've got a Classic Vibe 60s Tele.
What's your amp?
My amp, for $500, is a Blues Junior.
It's the best amp of all time. It can do everything.
It's a Blues Junior, $500. I realize that's half of my budget. But for me, if my amp is not sounding right, it makes the whole thing fall apart. And you can't do it all with a Blues Junior.
No.
Absolutely.
You're going for classic sounds.
You're going for classic sounds. And if you're a metal player, it's not what you should go for. However, for me and what I play, a telly into that Blues Junior. I've got the gain control, the little boost function, reverb in it.
A master volume, not a gain control, but
Yeah, master volume with the gain control, a volume.
Yeah.
But that does, like, it does a huge portion of what I need it to do. I'm going to be very happy with it. If I did take it to a jam, it's probably going to cover the basis unless I'm playing with a drummer or something really loud. Then I just mic it, But for my style and what I like, that's what I'm going to do. That's going to put me at $850.
Okay.
Doesn't leave me a lot of room.
Okay.
So I've got the classic vibe 60s Telly and the Blues Junior. You've got the PRS and the Boss Katana. What are you going with otherwise?
If you have a Boss Katana, it's almost like sad if you don't get that foot switch.
Yeah.
Because that's the whole purpose. You can go through different modes, you go through different like effects through the foot switch. So that is $125.
Oof.
I know. But that's brand new.
Yeah.
I'm sure that you can find a used one out there.
Yeah.
And, with a foot switch, since you're going to be stomping all the time, I probably would go for the new one, to be completely honest.
Okay.
So, like I said, I was $810. Now, adding $125. I'm not good at math.
Yeah.
$935.
$935.
All right. Well, I'm going to go ahead and talk about the rest
Go
of
ahead
it.
and finish it up.
All right. $935. You got to have a tuner. So I'm saying buy a Snark tuner. You're roughly around, $40. So we're at $975, and then you got to add a cable in there. That's at $1,000.
Okay.
There you go.
You've got all your effects in that katana. You've got all that stuff. It is a good setup.
It is a good set, and there's nothing that you wouldn't be able to do with that.
No, you're right. Yeah, you could pretty well cover all your bases.
A tuner, a cable, a foot switch, katana, PRS, SE, CE.
Man.
All right.
Good setup. Okay. Just to recap, I've got a classic vibe 60s Telecaster,
Yep.
Rosewood board, plugging in a Blues Junior.
Yep.
Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to pick up a Line 6 M5.
Okay.
So the M5, $100, pretty reasonable price. You've got 103 different effects. It has a tuner built in it. It's got tap tempo for all your delays and stuff. It's got 24 different presets, so you can put overdrives, delays, modulations, whatever you want in there. The guys down in Nashville been playing these like M5s or M9s and stuff. Some of them they do mod, but some of them they don't. I've been playing them for years.
Mm-hmm.
It adds $100. That gets me up to $950. So then the last $50, you're talking some cables. You're talking maybe a power supply, some things like that. But yeah, I would set down classic Vibe Telly into an M5, which I can run whatever fun effects I want to, into my great sounding Blues Junior. And I'm in a happy place with that.
That's not bad. I would say you're lacking on the drives.
Yes, but the M5 has drives.
It has them, but are they great?
They're not great, but
they're not great.
Well, they're not.
At least you're honest. But you would get all the delays, all the modulation you would want.
Yeah, and I don't play real heavy drive stuff anyway most of the time.
So maybe it's a boost.
So it's just, yeah, I would just be pushing into that Blues Junior.
So I think we both covered some good topics here. To me, if you're going classic sounds,
yeah,
your rig is really good.
Man, I know. Go ahead and tell me. It's good.
But if you're trying to cover as much ground, like if you're a top 40s, type of band,
yeah,
I think mine's the way to go.
Yeah, yours is going to cover way more ground and be more versatile.
Completely.
Especially for a new guitar player that doesn't know what route he wants to go.
Right.
Yours is the way to go. My route is a little more of, where you want to go, and you're trying to head down that path a little bit, or that you're like specifically classic.
The cool thing about your Blues Junior pick is that you could literally have that amp the rest of your life.
Yeah. I mean, there's professionals that are out there running Blues Juniors all the time, or at least have it as a backup or a grabbing.
And the Katana could be a backup the rest of your life, but it might not inspire you the way that Blues Junior would. So.
Yeah. And you can build off of it. That M5's great, but throw a drive pedal. The next month, buy a small drive pedal or whatever. So, yeah, I think those are both great choices.
Both good rigs. What would you guys choose? Let us know down in the comments. But we just thought it'd be interesting to be like, what would we do if we were first starting out?
Yeah.
With $1,000?
Yeah. And both great rigs.
I think so.
Okay, let's go ahead.